The world watched in disbelief as Russian tanks rolled across the Ukrainian border in February 2022. Vladimir Putin, the steely-eyed leader of Russia, had launched a full-scale invasion of his neighbor. The move sent shockwaves across the globe, shattering decades of relative peace in Europe. Putin justified the invasion as a necessary measure to protect Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine and to counter NATO expansion. However, many saw it as a naked act of aggression, a bid to reclaim Russia's lost empire. The initial Russian advance was swift, but Ukrainian resistance proved fiercer than expected. The conflict quickly bogged down into a bloody stalemate, with neither side able to achieve a decisive victory. Cities were reduced to rubble, and millions of Ukrainians were displaced from their homes. The world held its breath, wondering what the long-term consequences of Putin's gamble would be. The invasion of Ukraine marked a turning point in Putin's rule, revealing the true extent of his ambition and ruthlessness. It also exposed the West's limitations in deterring Russian aggression. As the conflict drags on, the human cost continues to mount, and the world grapples with the consequences of Putin's actions. The war in Ukraine has been brutal, marked by intense fighting and heavy casualties. Key battles have raged across the country, leaving destruction in their wake. In Avdiivka, Ukrainian forces fought to hold off the Russian advance. The city was transformed into a ghost town, its streets littered with debris. Another clash occurred in the north, where Russian forces attacked Kharkiv. Despite superior firepower, Russians met fierce resistance. The battle for Kharkiv raged for weeks, with heavy losses on both sides. In a counteroffensive, Ukrainian forces pushed back the Russians. The war's toll on human life has been staggering. Tens of thousands of soldiers and countless civilians have perished. The UK estimates 70,000 Russian troops have been killed. The war has devastated Ukraine's infrastructure, reducing hospitals, schools, and critical infrastructure to rubble. Throughout his reign, Putin has been dogged by accusations of human rights abuses and authoritarianism. His critics accuse him of silencing dissent, rigging elections, and using the Russian state to enrich himself and his cronies. These accusations have only intensified since the invasion of Ukraine, as Putin has cracked down on anti-war protests and independent media within Russia. One of the most serious allegations leveled against Putin is his alleged involvement in the assassination of his opponents. From the poisoning of Alexander Litvinenko in 2006 to the attempted assassination of Alexei Navalny in 2020, Putin has been linked to a string of suspicious deaths and near-fatal attacks on his critics. While the Kremlin has consistently denied any involvement in these incidents, the accusations have cast a long shadow over Putin's rule. The assassination of Boris Nemtsov, a charismatic opposition leader gunned down in the shadow of the Kremlin in 2015, sent shockwaves through Russia and the international community. Nemtsov, a vocal critic of Putin's policies, had been working on a report exposing Russia's military involvement in eastern Ukraine at the time of his death. His murder remains unsolved, but many believe it was a political assassination ordered by the Kremlin to silence a prominent critic. Section 4. An unlikely alliance, Putin and Trump. In a strange twist of fate, Vladimir Putin, the former KGB agent who rose to power in the ashes of the Soviet Union, found himself developing a complex and controversial relationship with Donald Trump, the flamboyant businessman who became the 45th President of the United States. Trump's admiration for Putin's strongman persona was no secret, and he frequently praised the Russian leader's intelligence and leadership. Their relationship was marked by a mixture of public flattery and behind-the-scenes tension. Trump's efforts to improve relations with Russia were met with skepticism and resistance from within his own administration, as well as from America's European allies. The Mueller investigation, which cast a long shadow over Trump's presidency, further strained relations between Washington and Moscow. Despite the controversies and investigations, Putin and Trump maintained a dialogue, speaking on the phone and meeting on the sidelines of international summits. Their interactions were often awkward and unpredictable, but they highlighted the complex interplay of personalities and national interests that shape global politics. Section 5. The Spymaster's Legacy, from KGB to Kremlin. To understand Vladimir Putin, one must delve into his past with the KGB, the Soviet Union's intelligence agency. Within the KGB, Putin honed his skills in deception, manipulation, and ruthlessness. His training instilled a deep suspicion of the West and a belief in a strong state. After the Soviet Union's collapse, Putin transitioned to politics. He rose through the ranks, becoming prime minister and then president. His KGB background shaped his centralized, forceful leadership style. Putin's legacy will be debated for decades. Supporters see him as a strong leader, detractors as an autocrat. One thing is certain: Vladimir Putin has left an indelible mark on Russia and the world.